The Mississippi River Basin is the primary logistical artery for United States agricultural exports. This system relies on the extreme efficiency of barge transportation. A standard 15-barge tow moves 22,500 tons of grain, equivalent to 225 railcars. Recent autumn droughts have introduced severe hydrological volatility. In 2023, the Memphis River gauge fell to a record low of -12.0 feet. This forced draft limits down to 8.5 feet, a 26.1% reduction from baseline. This drop triggers a nonlinear collapse in transport capacity. Every 1-inch draft reduction strips 17 tons of cargo from a standard barge. At 8.5 feet, each barge loses 40% of its capacity, forcing operators to reduce tow configurations. Physical capacity deficits translate directly into severe economic penalties. In October 2022, spot barge rates from St. Louis spiked 300% to $80 per ton. This surge in inland freight costs immediately inflated the export price of American grain. The United States Gulf Free onboard soybean premium over Brazilian grain expanded to $45 per ton. Historically, this premium averages just $5. This logistics-driven price spread has severely degraded the competitiveness of American agricultural exports in Asian markets. Consequently, major importers like China have accelerated a structural pivot toward Brazilian supply. This shift occurs precisely during the peak autumn harvest window when American farmers rely on maximum export volumes. The hydrological bottleneck has effectively ceded market share to South American competitors. To bypass the river bottleneck, agricultural logistics has undergone a costly structural modal shift. During the peak export window, barge-delivered grain to Gulf ports fell by over 41% between 2020 and 2023. Rail networks were forced to absorb the displaced volume. Rail-delivered grain to the Gulf increased by over 80%, rising to 11.2 million metric tons. However, rail is a highly inefficient substitute for river transport. This modal shift added up to $25 per ton in additional handling and transit costs. It also increased the carbon intensity of the agricultural supply chain. The land-based rail network lacks the surge capacity to fully offset riverine disruptions. As climate-induced hydrological volatility becomes a recurring feature, the structural cost of American agricultural exports is permanently resetting higher.